Good morning and welcome to Daylight Church Online. We're just so thankful that you're joining us this morning and hope that you have a great experience. We want to let you know that if you'll go to mydaylightchurch.com, there's a card there that says Online Church. And on the Online Church card, it'll tell you everything you need to know about being a part of our online church community, how you can get involved in small groups, how you can give financially, how you can be involved in the service projects that we do. So even if you're in Kansas or Cambodia, you can sure join us and be a part of our church. We'd like you to check it out there and introduce yourself. So go to mydaylightchurch.com and check out the online church card. Thanks.
So quick reminder of the rules, because we have to have rules. We're a church, right? Oh, come on. The first joke doesn't land? That was a joke. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, so if you're online, please play along with us. Talk to people in your room, write down the answers to the question, journal, like whatever. But please participate with us. This isn't a throwaway. This is really important. Nope to the monopolizing your time. Everyone gets to talk. Share your time at the table. And if you don't want to play along, just pass. It's no big deal. It's not like everyone has to talk. It's not one of those things. So this is not a time for you to lay down everything and give all your views and do all this is not, no monopolizing, no pushing any of your envelopes, any of those kind of things. Yes to listening. And yes to getting around, we're around the campfire, right? We're talking. So relax, be good, talk to each other, enjoy each other. And then at the end, we will hand out, Siler is doing his mic duty again. He loves it. Also might be a joke. But he gets to do it every time. That's what I tell him. So when he comes by, he gets to hold the mic, not you. Yeah, real quick, say what you have to say for your table, and we'll go from there. Any questions? Okay, good. I have some questions for you. Okay, so a funny story this week. So, we gave out all our shirts, right? Jesus ate with everybody across the back. So somebody told me this week they were in the grocery store and someone was kind of following them around. You know how you pass the same person every other time you go down the aisle. So finally at the end they said, "Man, I really love your shirt. What restaurant is it for?" Which I just thought was hilarious. So your opening question is, get to know the people at your table, do your name. The first question is, if Daylight were a restaurant, what restaurant would Daylight be? So introduce yourself to your table. Give me a fun, this will be your practice run. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, y'all get around the table, everybody? Everybody introduce each other. Siler, we're going to practice with the mic since this is a fun question. Who wants to give their answer to what kind of question Daylight would be? What kind of restaurant? Anyone? Anyone? I've got a hand in the back. I've got 2 over there. Yeah.
Golden Corral. There's something for everybody.
There you go. A buffet, a little bit of everything. I like it. Oh, I had the same answer. Wow. Everybody else? Any different ones? What you got?
Alice, and this is Mel. Yeah. For the younger people, they won't get it.
Anybody else? It'd definitely be a fusion restaurant. There we go. All right. Good practice. All right, next question. Oh, wait, do we have another one? All right, go.
Yeah. I'm saying this. Bob's pushing me to say Chick-fil-A.
No, it can't be Chick-fil-A because we're open on Sunday.
So we're open on Sunday. That's what he said. I was just playing anti.
We're like the Bizarro Chick-fil-A, only open on Sunday. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. So that's a good practice. All right, number 2. All right, next thought. This series, we're covering how to be a disciple. More specifically, how to be a disciple of Jesus. We think that Jesus is worth following. Yeah, we're good with that? All right. So we think that following Jesus leads to life everlasting, life abundantly, that Zoe and that I can't say because it's in Greek, but life everlasting, right? Life to the full. That's the goal of the series, is to give you the tools to move toward life, right? To move toward life more abundantly, life to the full. To give you tools to move you closer and closer to Jesus, closer to life. So with that comes a caveat we've been giving. These are tools that you can have in your belt, right? Tools in your tool belt. Worship, community, Bible study. You won't use them all the time, and you won't all do them the same way, right? But we want to make sure that you have them when you need them or when you want them. So this brings me to the question around your table. What church or community experiences have moved you toward life? So as you reflect on your time at church or churches, your time with your communities, your time in your small groups, your time with other believers, what activities, what events, what experiences, what things have moved you toward life? 1, 2, 3, go. All right, I hear lots of talking. That's great. Who wants now? Let's transition. There's my alarm. Look at that. Perfect. All right, Sally's coming around with the mic. Who wants to talk about some ways, some activities, some experiences that community has helped move you toward life? Who wants to talk about those? Anyone? Yeah, we're all talking, so just talk into the mic. Tell everyone what y'all are talking about.
Be a little bit of a plug for Wednesday night group. But, there are times that I'm in the service and I'm really hearing it, absorbing it, but there's things that I'm missing. And by coming on Wednesday night, it helps fill in all the blanks. So actually, I feel like I'm getting more out of the service after coming on Wednesday because I get a deeper, fuller, more beautiful picture. There's so much given to us on Sunday morning that's beautiful and deep and wonderful. I'm talking too much. Anyway, Wednesday night.
Look at that, self-regulating. I love it. Who else? Come on, don't be shy. All right, here we go. The next person has to be on that side of the room, so we make him walk back and forth the whole time.
I got baptized like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I got baptized.
That's a great step, right? So what helped you move you toward life? That's a great thing, yeah. Which is one of the things we talked about in our sermon series this week, this few months, so that's perfect. What else? Can I call on this table? Anyone here? All right, here we go.
Yesterday, a group of us went downtown and fed the homeless, and that's actually one of my favorite activities of the whole month because we're able to give of the love of Jesus to others, and it's very meaningful to me.
Get one more? Anybody? Great answers. Okay, we got.
Able Talk Sundays. I like to get everyone else's feelings and assimilate them into what I'm feeling. And the first time I was at a tabletop, which was about a month ago, I guess, I said I had no faith. Well, that's coming along very well.
Great. Moving you toward, right? Moving toward. Thanks, guys. Those are great. See? This works. Y'all are doing stuff, right? Next thought. As your pastors, friends, community members, we want to push each other toward life, right? That's what the whole point of all this stuff is. We want to push you toward life, toward these things, away from death, right? Like that's the whole point. Much of the criticism the church gets is that it has a list of rules, right? We even joked about it at the beginning, right? Things you do, things you don't do, things you have to do, things you shouldn't do, right? That's what we're known for. But then we're going to do a series like we're doing where I'm going to ask you, suggest to you, encourage you to do something, right? So I want to push you toward life. Like my whole goal is to get you closer and closer to Christ, closer and closer to life, further and further away from death, right? That's the whole point. So it took me a while to phrase this question because it was all over the place, right? But how do you help someone move toward life without telling them to do it, right? Without making a list of rules. It's easy to can't stand up here and say, here's the 3 A's of Christian discipleship. As a parent, we don't try and make mini-me's, right? We want to give, there's some freedom to grow and do things, right? As husbands, as wives, we want to grow each other, but as soon as you start telling each other what they need to do to change, that's going to go really well for you, right? So how do you help move someone toward life without telling them to do it? 1, 2, 3, go. This is where you answered. I'm not going to answer it. So how do you persuade your friends? How do you talk to your friends? How do you talk to each other? All right, here we go. Time. So I want to hear from you guys. How do you help someone move toward life without telling them to do it? Oh, we got a lot of fingers pointing over here.
So I think that instead of like talking about it, I think that you can like act like it and like do it and like kind of like I know that a lot of people don't really realize how much of an influence they are to others because like you can't really see that, but it's like out loud. But like for example, like speaking of like friends and family, like if you act like that, they'll pick up on that. They'll be like, oh, I wish I could be like Chloe, or like, oh, I wish I could be like Mary Jo, etc. So.
Doing it. Good word. Got some amens from the corner over here, so I like it. Who else? What else we got?
There's no like magic words or anything you can say, just being a constant presence in somebody's life, just being there for them.
Just being there, that's huge. All the way to the back corner, of course, will make you walk. And we're good with the awkward silence while you walk, it's fine.
So what we decided was not just also being a good presence was really good, but also being a really good listener. When you listen to someone, you're telling them that they're important. You're telling them that they're valued. And when you listen to someone, that draws them in because you can't really force someone to come towards the light or push them towards it. You have to create some kind of pull. And so being a good example and listening to that person and valuing that person can create that pull.
I like that. I like that idea of creating the pull toward the light. That's another reason why we do these tables, right? Is because you get to hear the people around you.
Along those lines, you really have to care. You really have to invest in people. You have to invest in their lives. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to talk to you now, and then I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go do something else. So you have to be genuine. It has to be real. And you have to invest for the long term. And then, once you've showed it to them, you can put your arm around their shoulder and say, come on, walk with me.
Yeah. This is why y'all answer and I don't, right? These are great. What else we got? More? Peg?
I think that you help people toward life by setting a good example yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not something, it can't be so overt that it's apparent what you're doing. It's just living your true life yourself, and people see who you are and decide yes or no based on that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of being with people, right? There's a lot of showing them. There's a lot of being there. There's a lot of investing in people. Anybody else? Those don't sound like quick fixes. Those don't sound like things that we do overnight or fix you by next week, right? We've been talking about this metaneo. See, I'm great with Greek words. Which is change your mind, change your thinking, right? Put on a new set of glasses. There's this whole thing, right? So we've been talking about changing. We've been talking about moving toward the light. We've been talking about these things. When you look around you, look at the people around you in your life, that change is going to happen, sometimes really slowly and sometimes really fast, right? For the people, it's fast. Like you see people drop off and they stop everything, they drop everything, they move toward the light, they're sprinting toward the light, right? You see those people and you see that work. Then you see the people who just like begin to start thinking about maybe, right? And we're all on a different spectrum. We're all in a different place in that thing, which brings us back to the talk we talked about a little bit a while ago about grace, right? We're all on different places. We're all moving toward the light at our own pace, at our own speed. The goal is to move toward the light. But what I want you to remember, I'm pulling you back to that thought, is remember that we need to have grace, not just for ourselves, because we all want to have grace for us as we reach toward the light. We want to have grace for the people around us because they may not be moving at the speed we're moving, but if they're moving, like we should celebrate that. Every little win, every little thing, right? Invest long term. That's what we do. That's what we do here at Daylight. It's long-term growth, right? Okay. This last one is much lighter. I get the heaviness in the room, right? This one's much lighter. So last week we talked about worship. That was a good one, right? Here's what worship is, here's what worship isn't, and they look like the same list, right? But it came down to being awe and wonder. That's what we talked a lot about on Wednesday. We had a great conversation about it on Wednesday. Talked a lot about awe and wonder, coming as a child, right? Keeping that awe, that wonder, that wow-ness going on, right? How do you keep that awe and wonder? How do you keep that amazement going on in your life? Is it being outside? Is it being together? Is it reading? Is it like, what do you do? Like, how do you worship? How do you get into that awe and wonder? What's your space? 1, 2, 3, go. Talk about awe and wonder. All right, time. All right, who wants to talk about worship? Who wants to talk about awe and wonder? Who's up? Who wants to talk about how they worship, how they keep that awe and wonder in their front of their mind? Right here.
You have to maintain an inquisitive curiosity about the things happening around you.
There we go. Curiosity. Exactly. That's exactly what that means. Stay curious.
Well, we were talking about how one important element is to stay focused. Because in our society, we get so daggone busy doing. And if we just stop for a minute and get away and refocus, then it helps us to maintain that awe and wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a million things going on. How do we stop for a second? Whatever that looks like. Yeah, that's a great one. What else we got? Were you raising your hand? You know, you just bid. Right here in the back. Or Donald on the way.
We kind of talked about watching babies grow and learn how to walk and talk, and that just blows my mind.
Yeah, the newness, right, again.
The one thing that I was telling this group here is like whenever my parents and I are blessed with a financial surplus, we buy food to put food in food boxes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder, who's getting the food and what their family situation is. I never ask questions because the 3 rules I learned to live by is don't judge, don't condemn, don't interrogate. But I drive away and I wonder who's getting the food, or I wonder what their circumstance is. I just walk away curious. Drive away curious.
Right. And serving is another way, right? That's a great example of ways you can keep the awe and wonder, like getting in the middle of that. You talked about it earlier, right? Getting in the middle of that, seeing that reminds you of the awesomeness. What else? Got time for a couple more.
I think if you become more like self-aware, then you can be aware of yourself and see different things, and you can be aware of like others.
Right.
And just
So
like,
getting out of your head, right?
yeah, like
Right.
just being more aware of yourself and like your actions and stuff.
See, this is what we're going to miss when she's gone, right? These great answers she has. One more. What we got? Awe and wonder. Be still. Be still. All right. Thank y'all for playing. Anything else anybody wants to say about what we've talked about before we go? No? All right. So I know I'm the thing between you and food. So any other announcements we have to say? Quick?
How come when I'm going to say something, it always has to be quick?
And time up.
I want to say that everything we've talked about today has to be intentional.
Yeah.
We don't, by osmosis, rub off on somebody technically and they're going to become a Christian. God does not have any grandchildren. You have to come to Jesus yourself. And in order for us to be able to be an example, we have to be intentional about how we're going to live our lives and make a difference. Do I always do that? No. But I can challenge us to be consciously aware that the presence of the Holy Spirit lives in those of us who are born again, and that we do have a responsibility before God to rub off on other people and be intentional about how we're going to present the gospel. Either, what is it St. Francis says? Preach a sermon every day, and when necessary, use words.
So this is a great wind-up. So thank you. That was perfect. This is a great wind-up, right? So everything we've talked about is you have to do it, right? So again, I'm up here saying you need to do something without telling you have to do something, right? So love on others, share on others, spend time with others, know yourself, keep that awe and amazement, keep that awe and wonder out, right? Move toward the light. If you're here, I hope you hear all the time, you are loved, and move toward the light.